So, ja, und da habt ihr es natürlich nicht kommen sehen, denn ich habe es tatsächlich geschafft, ob ihr es glaubt oder nicht, zum 18. Geburtstag. Ich habe Bryan Clark hier, liebe Fans, ja, ob ihr es glaubt oder nicht, ehemals Adam Bomb, ehemals Wrath, eine Hälfte des Tag-Teams Kronik und ja, wir haben uns ja eine Menge Zuhörerfragen da für ihn ausgedacht und die möchte ich ihm jetzt stellen. Wie ihr natürlich wisst, wir werden das ganze Interview auf Englisch halten, das heißt also in dem Moment, ihr müsst dann irgendwie mal euren Englischkurs aus der Schule ein bisschen aufbewahren, ne? Das wisst ihr ja, so ist das. So, Bryan, great to have you here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, that's so great. I mean, yeah, it's our 18th birthday now, and you have a lot of fans over here in Germany still, because in Germany, the main time for wrestling was 1992 to 1994, and you were part of that time of the WWF. But I wanted to cover your whole career, so I wanted to step back a little bit and wanted to go back to your child or teenager days as the first question, and wanted to ask you, did you always dream about being a wrestler?
Yes. I watched it at a very young age. My family took me to some shows, and I got to see some of the greats of the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted to. I had a connection with it, and and I got in later on, once I was old enough, when I finished high school, I went to the military and served in the military. But one thing about the military is that I actually was stationed in Belgium, and I lived in Belgium for 1 year, but every pass I got and every break we got, we were in Germany.
Okay.
Just visiting all the cities and stuff, and I love Germany, man. I've always loved Europe.
Great.
But yeah, special connection to Germany. It was fantastic.
And Germany still loves you.
That's great, man. It's right back to them, man, because there were some phenomenal fans there. Some of the best fans ever.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, who did you like as a kid when growing up, or were there different characters? Who did you like when seeing wrestling as a kid or as a teenager?
Probably as a kid, I would say when I got to see him, I liked Stan Hansen. He was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Those are two that come, and of course, Randy Savage. Those are some that come to my mind right away. Yeah.
Okay. So you were going for the rough kind of guys.
Oh yeah, hey man, I like it rough, man. I was always full steam ahead.
You got your first break with AWA as the Night Stalker. And I think you were managed at a time by Ox Baker, who's mostly known for the German fans for his role in Escape from New York, or in German, Die Klapperschlange. So you were then fighting the Trooper, mostly known later to German fans as the Patriot. How was it working with Ox Baker, and how was it working with Del Wilkes?
It was great. The thing was, I was still, after I left the military, I walked on at Central Missouri State and earned a full college football scholarship. So I played college football. And while I was playing college football, a friend of mine told me that Ox Baker had lived not too far away. And I was like, you got to be kidding me, man. I got to meet this guy.
Yeah.
And so he introduced me to Ox. And when Ox got to see me, I was already an Air Force powerlifting champion. A Missouri State two-time super heavyweight powerlifting champion. So I've been weight training my whole life, and he sees me and he's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know you were this big." Kind of, and I'm like 6'6".
Yeah, great.
Yeah. And so right away he wants to manage me, which was great, but he didn't really train me. And so those first few matches of the AWA stuff, the AWA was about to fold and go out of business.
Yeah.
So I only did a couple of things with them. And so, you know, wasn't a whole lot there. I had to move to Atlanta after I finished college, move to Atlanta and be trained there at their facility.
Oh, okay. So you went over to WCW, I think, in 1990, 1991?
Yeah, well, what happened was, you know, I was still training.
Oh, okay.
Still training. But a lot of times they'll have guys that are training if they're short someone or if they need someone to fill in. And unfortunately, it was me because I still felt I wasn't ready. I was still training. But they threw me in a couple of matches, and I wasn't ready for it. But, you know, you learn, you know.
Yeah. So you were wrestling, I think, Sid Vicious at one point of your career. Yeah, maybe because they wanted to put him over as a super monster or whatever.
Right, and I was, like I said, I was still in college playing football. I was I was super green. I had zero training. Yeah.
And did you work house shows for WCW at that time?
No.
Okay. Okay, and then you went to Smoky Mountain Wrestling and worked for Jim Cornette, and as he would say, after all, actually grown as man. What did you think of Jim Cornette?
I like Jim. I had worked Paul Orndorff on an independent show, and Paul put me over to Jim. And Jim said, hey, bring him up. Let me take a look at him. And so that got me started there. He liked me. He liked the way I handle myself in the ring. And he decided, hey, I got to put this guy with Kevin Sullivan. And then that sort of got the ball rolling there. Yeah.
I had an interview with Jim Cornette a few years ago, and he told me how many wrestlers he got first, and he also told me that he had you first. He was always proud about that he had some guys who were big stars later in WWF, WCW, whatever, that he actually had them first. And you were wrestling guys like Reno Riggins and Tim Horner there, and many German fans only know them as preliminary guys or enhancement talent, maybe even job guys. And I always liked guys like Reno Riggins and remembered him even as a job guy in WWF. How was it working with them? Did they help you evolve?
Absolutely. And remember, Smoky Mountain was a territory.
Yeah.
So Tim Horner was fighting for the Smoky Mountain heavyweight title. He was not a preliminary. He was a top guy basically, and we had another top team of the Rock and Roll Express. Tracy Smothers, Paul Orndorff, Ronnie Garvin. The locker room was full of legends. And so I got to learn a lot. Those guys, all those guys helped me out.
Okay, and you started a feud with Kevin Sullivan. How did that come together, and how was Sullivan?
Sullivan was fine. Yeah, we got along great. Learned a lot from Kevin about psychology and just the business in general. The way our feud was, he managed me and was sort of like always ordering me around and putting me down and telling me what to do. And finally, I'd had enough of it, and I snapped. And turned on him, kind of thing. And of course, the fans went crazy, and
pop.
All of a sudden, hey, Night Stalker's a good guy.
Yeah, great.
But it was fine.
How long was your run as a good guy there?
Honestly, I really don't know.
Okay.
I always felt that I should have stayed in Smoky Mountain another year.
Okay. Why?
But I got the call early to go to WWF.
Yeah, of course, because Vince McMahon loves big guys.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in 1993, you went to WWF. What was the biggest difference between them, AWA, and Smoky Mountain?
Oh, completely different. I tell people that Smoky Mountain was the most fun I'd ever had.
Okay.
Working with Jim Cornette, there was no pressure. I could go out and have a great match. didn't have to worry. I didn't worry about anything. There was no stress.
Yeah.
WWF, completely opposite. 280 plus days on the road a year, plus appearances, plus autograph sessions, plus interviews, everything. It was just it was a meat grinder. Honestly, it was very demanding, very demanding.
Okay, so you would say the WWF, the biggest difference was the pressure?
The pressure, and also the amount of work time. You never had any time off. There was,
I mean, sure.
You would go, like I said, I went to Europe 10 times in 1 year.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, like, each month I would go do a tour, 10, 12, 13 days, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Come home for a couple of days, do another loop in the U.S., back to Europe. Come home a couple of days, a tour in the U.S., back to Europe. So it was just constant.
Yeah. How did this affect your real life?
Oh, it was tough. I mean, injuries that you really couldn't get taken care of. Back then, they didn't have doctors in the back. They didn't have an EMT.
Yeah.
They didn't have anything. You just sort of, if you got hurt or something, you take yourself to the emergency room. Or either you just wrap it up, suck it up, and go to the next town.
Do you have had some instance where you had to go in Europe to an emergency room?
Not in Europe. No, actually, I was lucky, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it like to work with Bruno Lar, or many fans will know him as Harvey Wippleman, or with Johnny Polo, aka Scott Levy, better known as Raven?
Both were fine. No problems with either one of them. I don't really think they fit my character. It just didn't seem like it went together.
Yeah.
I don't know if they put a lot of thought into it, or it just didn't seem like it fit real well.
Okay. How was it? How was the transition to working with superstars on house shows? I mean, you worked with, for example, El Matador, Tito Santana for some time on house shows, and on television you were working with job guys or preliminary guys. How was that different?
Oh, it's a lot different. I mean, like, I worked Undertaker in.
We'll come to this. We'll come to this.
Oh, yeah. I mean, casket matches, the works. Yeah, I mean, I worked on every top name there is. And then with working with enhancement talent on TV, you've only got 3 or 4 minutes, where on a house show you got 20 or more. Yeah. So you got to tell that story, and you got to tell it quick. You got to get all your stuff in and get it over. So that's the biggest difference is the time frame.
Yeah.
And a lot of times the enhancement guys are not working like we are, so they're not as smooth sometimes. It just varies.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then mostly we're squash matches, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, for the most part.
Yeah. I would come to this because you had a ton of matches against The Undertaker from 93 to 94, and casket matches and whatever, and it never made it to television. Do you know why that was?
I think they had some on Coliseum Video. So they had a big contract with Coliseum Video.
Yeah.
So, like, I worked Bret Hart on a lot of Coliseum videos, and those were like mini pay-per-views. So they would, put all that big stuff, the big matches on
those video
Coliseum
cassettes.
Video, and then sell that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably why you didn't see it.
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of those VHS tapes over here because I have them standing somewhere here, German fan favorites and all of that, and you're on them. So yeah, I've seen that. How's the casket from inside?
Hey man, it's dark.
Okay.
I was in so many. I mean, sometimes they would put me in it, and then they would throw Harvey in there. Yeah, so we would both be in it all the way to the back through the curtains,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that fit?
Well, yeah, it was a big casket. I'm a big guy, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There were several groups backstage in the WWF. The most prominent might be the Clique around Shawn Michaels, but also the BSK of Taker and Yokozuna. Was there any groups you hung out with back then?
Not really. I wouldn't say I was a lone wolf, but I travel with I travel with a variety of guys. I didn't really like hang out with a certain group or a certain clique or whatever. I just sort of I just went with the flow, you know.
Okay. Were there guys you traveled regularly with?
Man, it varied. I traveled with sometimes I traveled with Kurt Hennig.
Okay.
Sometimes I travel with Billy Gunn, of the Smoking Guns.
Yeah. You wrestled
with Pierre from the Quebecers.
Yeah, I know you wrestled Billy in Germany in Kiel.
Yeah, I did. I think I did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
I know because a friend of mine was there.
Okay.
and you won.
Oh.
Yeah. As Adam Bomb, as Adam Bomb, you had exactly 99 television appearances for WWF. You didn't make the 100.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
But hey, my college football number was 99, so that's perfect.
Great. See?
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, you went over to Germany for some tours. What are your memories of Germany? You were also stationed here by the military. You already told us that. And what are your biggest memories when you were on tour over here? Or your best memory?
Just the biggest thing I think was the loyalty of the fans. The fans were so into it, and every night we were sold out. They were just so great. I mean, they would be at the hotels, wanting the autographs, and I would always sign everything and anything that they needed. Just very loyal fans. Even more so, I thought, than in the States. Really, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bret Hart told us that some years ago. He was always saying of course, first the Canadian fans, obviously, but after that, he said that the German fans were always the loyal, the most loyal fans, and if we like somebody, we don't care if they're a face or a heel.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed that way. You're right. It did seem that way. That no matter what I was doing, I still had that same group of fans. That fans with the signs in the crowd, and all that stuff. That didn't bother. That didn't change.
Yeah, because I think you had a look. Maybe you remember because I still got them here. They were a great sales pitch back in the day. And I got all of them.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and that was you back in the day. In 1995, these cards came out for the German market, and there were so many of them. And so many people remember you also because of those collectibles, and also because of, for example, your action figure. How was it to see your action figure hanging in the stores?
Well, at first, they're cool. I mean, I've got, I don't know how many, 4 or 5 out. And I'm right now in the process of signing a new Legends contract for a new Atom Bomb figure.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So I've got that, and I've got 2 new merchandising deals that are already in action.
Ah, cool. Great.
Yeah.
Back in the day, you had a mini-feud with Rick the Model Martel after the Survivor Series. Was that the first step of trying to turn you face?
It could have been. I'm just not sure. That when they did it, they didn't really do it really well. I think it was just sort of, okay, we've already gotten all we can out of him as a heel. Let's turn him face now, that kind of thing. So, it didn't seem like there was a lot of thought put into it.
Okay. Many people over here thought it sucked that you lost to Earthquake at WrestleMania 10. You were the replacement for Ludwig Borger, who left the company before that. And how was it going in? How was it going into WrestleMania 10? Were you disappointed about the match?
Well, I was, for the fact that I'd just come off a Europe tour, and I'd worked him like 10 or 12 nights in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And we had worked out a 12 to 15-minute match that was great. I mean, I did all the high flying off the top, over the top, all my big moves. And he's a big guy, so he was, he didn't move near as much as I did. I was doing really most of the work, honestly. But it didn't matter. It worked, and we had a really good match laid out. Yeah. But due to time restraints or whatever the situation was, they decided to. I thought they were just going to just take it off, but they decided just to make it a squash.
Mm.
Yeah,
yeah. Many people hated that back then.
Yeah.
I remember, because so many people thought Earthquake already has had his run, and they wanted to see you win, actually. Yeah. And I thought back then. I thought that as well, and I still do to this day.
I sort of felt that way too, because, like you said, he'd been there in the late 80s,
yeah.
90s, early 90s. Yeah, I sort of felt that way too. I was surprised that, and I don't know that maybe because Vince felt he owed it to him or something.
Okay,
I'm not sure,
mm-hmm.
But I know that there was some kind of connection there.
Okay, after that you were packaged with Kwang, Savio Vega, for some tag matches, and that was what ultimately lead to your face turn. What did you like the most in this story, and what did you like the most, being heel or being a face?
I've always been a little bit of what they call a tweener, which is a little bit heel, a little bit of a face.
Yeah.
But I prefer being a face.
Okay.
That's just my natural. I mean, I enjoy interacting with the fans.
Yeah.
That's just my personality. So I think that working with Savio was it was easy. And then when they did the turn with him, I had a match against Yokozuna on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And that ended up being a DQ because Savio and Harvey got involved. But yeah, that was the beginning of the turn. So yeah, that, like I said, they could have done more with it, but that's just, what they were thinking at the time.
Mm-hmm. I remember you had a match with the Smoking Guns against Kwang and Well Done. Well Done sadly passed away in the last couple of years, and I always thought they were pretty underrated. How did you think? How was it working with them?
Really easy. I knew both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Both very good workers. They both been in up in Portland in that territory, and it also been out in Florida Championship. So they had a lot of experience. They weren't the biggest guys in the world, but they could work. Just solid. Solid's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, I always thought they could have had a run with the tag team titles, especially at that time, because there weren't many tag teams or real tag teams at that time. So I always I never got why they didn't cut the mustard, but maybe because they were too small, or I don't know. Billy and Bart were pretty big, I think.
Yeah, they were good size. Yeah.
In 1994 and 1995, you had more wins than losses. So you had a 60 to 70% winning rate in WWF, but mostly not on television. You defeated Nikolai Volkov, Kwang, Bam Bam, Hakushi, Red Radford, WrestleMania main eventers like King Kong Bundy, but it never transferred to television. And many people over here like you because they saw you win on the house shows, and obviously winning gets people over. Why was there no plan in the television shows? Did you talk to Vince McMahon about this?
Not necessarily talk to him about it. He was a little difficult to talk to.
Okay.
As far as actually getting a meeting, even getting a meeting with him was because you had all the agents to go through, you know?
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that played a role in me not getting a bigger push or getting more, you know, getting more wins on TV. I'm not sure. I know that, like you said, I know that when I was in Europe and winning in Germany and all of the other places, I was really over. I mean, I could feel it. I could see it. I could feel it from the fans.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. You were. When I'm talking to guys who quit watching wrestling, your name always comes up. Like Bret Hart, like Bam Bam Bigelow, and yeah, they remember Adam Bomb. It's a fact. Cool. It's a fact. Your contract came up in 1995. Weren't there any further negotiations, or were you just leaving?
No, I'll tell you. Like I said, that schedule I mentioned earlier, with 280 plus days out of the year, doing the video games, doing the personal appearances, this autograph signings, the interviews up in Stanford, all of that combined with no home life. And then to top it off, this is supposed to be the biggest company in wrestling, and the pay was horrible.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I would get home and see my checks, and I was shocked. I was I can't believe I worked that hard for this money. I'm serious. That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
And I remember I was supposed to go to Boston one night, and I just said, you know, I'm done. I'm going home. And I flew home, and I got home that night, and the phone rings, and it's Vince. And he's like, "Hey, why are you not in Boston?" You know, and I said, "Well, you know, there's a lot of reasons," and I went into a few of them about being lied to about the intercontinental strap being put on me at one time and getting a run with that.
Okay,
handling of my career and the fact that I'm working for pennies. I mean, it's just my merchandise. I had action figures, video games, and everything. And the paychecks were horrible. Yeah. And I knew I had a place to go. I lived in Atlanta, and I knew Eric Bischoff, and I knew I had a place to work. So when that contract was up, I worked a few shows in between before coming to WCW. I worked over at Hammerlock in the UK. Yeah. A few times. Then I signed the first 3-year deal with Bischoff.
Yeah. It seemed like you took some time off of wrestling in 1996. Why was that?
96 was actually the time I'd signed the contract.
Yeah.
But they were doing the Mortal Kombat thing with
Glacier.
So they took their time with it. It took a long time to put together all those outfits. If you remember the martial outfit, they spent a lot of money on that.
They did.
They had us, we were training 4 or 5 days a week in a dojo. So I was kickboxing, doing judo.
Okay.
Plus wrestling, you know. So I was doing all of that. So it took a while to air the vignettes and get them going. And so, it took a while to bring each character out to put the story together. Yeah.
You came back in 97 as a sidekick of Mortis, or better, Mortis, a.k.a. Chris Kenyon, was your sidekick then. And you were now named Wrath. And when I first saw you, when you took the helmet off, I thought, oh, look, it's Adam Bomb. They got him as well.
Yeah.
Because I always thought you had a remarkable face, because it's recognizable. Yeah. Because they couldn't bring you over as Raz for me at first, because I always thought, no, sorry, but I know him. It's Adam Bomb, obviously. Yeah. So and then you had your feud with Glacier. But obviously Glacier didn't really go over, and I think it was was because of the hype. I mean, this vignette with blood runs cold. There was no follow-up to that. Those vignettes were too much. But what did you think of it, your role as an evil Mortal Kombat character?
It was okay. I actually got to be in the Mortal Kombat TV series.
Oh, great. Okay.
As a guest star.
Oh, cool.
And I got some commercials and some promotional stuff out of it. So it wasn't that bad. But what happened was that sort of kicked off the same time as the NWO was coming in.
Yeah.
So it really got overshadowed and got watered down to where it just almost, it didn't disappear, but it really moved down the card.
Yeah.
And so that's when I approached Eric about doing Wrath as a single and doing it my way. And what I did was I took the Wrath part and the Atom Bomb part.
Yeah, and it was a blend.
And I combined them.
Yeah.
I used the Meltdown, which was that pump handle finish.
Yeah.
I called it the Meltdown.
Yeah.
And the outfit looked just about like Atom Bomb, except it said Wrath.
Yeah.
So I did all that on purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
How was it working before you went to being a singles competitor as Wrath? How was it working with James Mitchell or James Vandenberg at that time?
Yeah, it was no problem. No problem. I think I don't think him and Chris Kanyon got along that well.
Okay.
But again, I didn't travel with those guys. I traveled either by myself or with someone else for the most part,
Okay, since so many people, and you just said it, the NWO was running wild at that time, and maybe the Mortal Kombat gimmick got over a bit too cartoony for that real life thing. Since so many people at that time went into the New World Order, especially people who came from WWF, was that offer made to you?
No, because I had already asked Eric and explained to him that I want to do Wrath my way.
Okay.
And the thing about that is that I'm glad I did, for the fact I could prove to him that it would work, especially with the Meltdown finish. Because I went on like a 7 or 8 month winning streak, undefeated, for a long time. Yeah. And so I'm glad it worked out that way.
Yeah. You were featured before that in a Goldberg squash match. They featured that as, Goldberg pinned Wrath in 9 seconds. It was actually 20 seconds. So, but they obviously needed to push Goldberg. And did that bother you, or did you say, well, it's easy money?
No. I knew what they were doing, and I knew that I was going to do Wrath my way. Yeah. If you remember that match, the helmet never came off. Yeah. It was boom, 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 and it was over. Yeah. And so that didn't hurt me. Okay. Because I would come back later with the helmet off and reveal Wrath. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so that wasn't a big deal. And personally, I got along with Bill. I like working with Bill. I like his style. Okay. And so that was not an issue at all. Yeah. Did you know that you were one of the end bosses in one of the video games for WCW? One of the what? The end boss of one of the games of WCW versus the World. You were the end boss. I didn't know that. Yeah, WCW NWO World Tour on the Nintendo 64, and you were the secret character for the World Heavyweight title. So you were the end boss in that game. I never knew that. Some nerd facts for you. Oh, okay. So after that, the Wrath Mortis gimmick came to an end. Was that because of injury, or was it just because you saying no? Let me repackage myself. No, I felt that it was time to go to Eric and say, let me repackage myself. Yeah. Okay. Then you had some time off and you came back, and you had time off from March to August. And in August of 1998, with a blend of Wrath and Atom Bomb, you came back. You looked even more trained. You looked more jacked. What did you do? Did you trained so hard for that? Okay. I knew that I had to make this work. Yeah. Yeah, and I was going to give them the Atom Bomb Wrath combination. Yeah, and that's why I went. That's why I went undefeated, because I was just so much more intense.
Yeah.
So much bigger moves, more high flying.
Yeah.
Everything that went along with it, that I knew that it would get over, and it did. Every week it built more and more and more signs, more people. As soon as I hooked that meltdown in, people started standing in their seats, standing up.
Yeah. Yeah, and you also had a great entrance theme that fit your character way more than the first theme, I thought.
I handpicked that.
Great, yeah, good taste.
Yeah, I have had a lot of. I was very creative. Even just to go back a bit with WWF, they didn't have merchandise for me, so I met with a graphic designer, went over all my designs, took them into Vince's office, and he loved them. He's, oh, this is great. Get it down to marketing, and right away I had merchandise. So I've always been creative with the whole merchandise thing. That's not. I mean, that's I've always done that. So even right now, even to this day, as we'll talk about later. But yeah.
So you got the great merchandise, pal.
Yeah. That was it, man.
Yeah.
He popped on it. He loved it. So
I'm brilliant. So
exactly.
were you just training, or were you also dieting in that phase?
Oh, everything, man. Cardio in the morning on an empty stomach to burn the most fat. Cardio, 45 minutes an hour down, like in a hot room. Then then I would do the weight training and then the wrestling, and all of it. It was 24/7.
Okay. What would you say? How long was your training schedule a day?
You know what? I always get this saying of like no days off. Yeah. But it seemed like, I mean, all the time. Everything that if I wasn't watching film, or watching matches, or watching the shows, or just trying to pick up things, it was very consuming.
Okay. So you came back and you went on a winning streak and you beat many wrestlers, including guys like Ming. Were they going for a singles title run? I mean, you had a 73% winning rate in 1998, so you won a lot of your matches, especially on television.
Goldberg.
Okay.
They wanted Wrath versus Goldberg.
Yeah.
Once they were seeing that I was getting so over and on such a roll and just running through everybody, they were like, we got to put him with Goldberg. This is it,
Okay.
So that was the original plan.
Yeah. But were you actually put with Goldberg? I remember you were put with Bam Bam.
Well, Kevin Nash beat my winning streak.
Okay.
In November.
Yeah.
And then in December, he beat Goldberg's.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what happened there.
Okay. Were you
with Bigelow after that, I think.
Yeah. Were you okay with that, or was that a letdown?
I didn't really care for working with Bigelow just because maybe earlier in his career he was really good shape and could really go. But when I worked him on that pay-per-view, I was very disappointed. He was winded. He couldn't do the things that he needed to do for the match. I don't feel like he prepared for the match.
Yeah.
And so I was disappointed in that part of it. Yeah.
Were you disappointed with the victory of Kevin Nash, or Kevin Nash beating your undefeated streak?
Well, here's the thing. It's like, I mean, I just felt like they could have got more out of it. Instead of just doing a Monday night Nitro match and then be done with it, they could have built that up for a few weeks at least.
Yeah.
And then even our match, we could have gotten more out of our match. It could have been a lot better, a lot longer. I mean, it was for a big man match, it was good.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good big man match, but they could have gotten a lot more out of it.
Okay. Have you met him or have you wrestled him when he was Diesel back in WWF as Adam Bomb?
No. I tag teamed with him before. Never a singles match against him.
Yeah.
I tagged with him. But I mean, we were always in the same locker room, and so I mean, yeah.
Yeah, when you were a heel, he was a heel, and when you turned, he turned as well, right?
I think that's about right.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
In 1999, your character was taken off television. What was the reason?
I tore my ACL.
Oh, okay. So you were injured.
Yeah, I came off the top rope one night in Orlando. Tore my ACL.
Okay.
I had just gotten a part in the movie The Gladiator.
Yeah.
I was supposed to go film that for 18 weeks in Morocco. Didn't happen because I couldn't walk.
Shit.
So that was very disappointing.
Yeah.
But that's part of life, and you just got to get back up and keep going, you know?
Yeah.
So I trained for 8-9 months, rehabbed, got the brace back on it. And then Brian Adams called me.
Yeah.
And wanted to form a tag team. And
in 2000.
At first I wasn't sure about it.
Okay.
And he called me back again, and we talked some more. And then I agreed. I said, okay, let's do it. And so we came up with the intro music. We flew down to Tampa, worked with Jimmy Hart on the music, the name, the finishing move, the double choke slam, all that stuff. Yeah, we put a lot of thought into that. The gear, the colors, everything.
Kronik.
Yes.
Yeah. How was it working with Crush?
The best.
Okay.
Best partner I ever had. And the funniest guy. I mean, oh man, I love being around him.
Yeah.
Love traveling with him. He's just a great guy. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. I mean, just the top of the top.
Yeah. With him, you won your first gold in the big leagues. Many people couldn't understand that you never held a singles title. Were you going for it, or was it enough for you to win the tag team belts in WCW back then?
We actually won on 2 occasions.
Yeah, I know.
2 times. But my big thing was that I always wanted to go back to Japan.
Yeah.
I went there one time for WWF when they first ever went over there and worked. I think it was with either New Japan. I think it might have been New Japan. I'm not sure. Maybe it was All Japan. But after we won the 2 titles in WCW, I wanted to go to Japan and go there. But Brian wanted to go to WWE.
Yeah.
And after much discussion back and forth, he felt that he could trust and have his friend Undertaker bring us in. And they brought us in, but we'd had a lot of injuries. Kane and Taker were both injured in that match. I've said this before, but Kane had a staph infection.
Yeah.
Taker had a bad shoulder. Brian's back was screwed up. I had neck surgery. I mean, we were all banged up. Yeah. Plus, they didn't let us go on the road and get some house shows under our belt after having that time off. And I suggested that, but they go, no. We're running this in the pay-per-view. I'm just like, why? Why are you rushing this? What's the big rush?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But that's what they did, and they had the match, and it was not that good, to say the least. Yeah.
And I think you had 2 matches in WWE that time. I mean,
we had like a squash match on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And
I think you had
run-ins where we put Kane and Taker through a table.
And I think you had a house show match against Test and Albert.
Yeah,
at
there
one
you
point.
go. That one show. Yeah. So, I mean, that's just not enough.
No, absolutely.
You go to Europe, you work 15 days, you come back, your match is perfect. And so they should have taken that suggestion, but
Was there still this mindset of, oh, here come the WCW guys and we don't let them get over?
You know what? Well, you think about it. I left Vince and Brian left Vince.
Yeah.
So I felt, there was a very uneasy feeling there. And I think that very few guys from WCW made the transition. And we were at the end of our careers, but we still had a big run in Japan.
Yeah.
Which was by far our biggest achievement, and my biggest achievement, because we won the All Japan titles in Osaka, Japan, at a sold-out stadium, and Stan Hansen, who was one of my all-time favorites, presented me with the belt.
Cool.
So that was the icing on the cake.
Yeah, you beat Keiji Muto and Taiyo Kia, if I remember correctly.
That's correct. Yep.
What was the biggest difference between Japan and the United States in wrestling-wise and society-wise?
Wrestling-wise, it's a lot more stiff.
Okay.
It's very solid.
Yeah.
I like that. That's my style. Like I said, I'm a former military, former college football player, power lifter. So all those things played into what I could bring to the table.
Yeah.
Plus I could fly. But yeah, those are the big things. And then of course the fans are sort of a ooh and ah, and they'll clap for certain things if they really like you and they're over. But they are very respectful. Super respectful to the wrestlers.
Yeah, sometimes you see the crowd being quiet, and after a while they get into the match, and when they're into the match, then they absolutely love it and they absolutely explode. I have some friends over there, and I totally dig the culture. I never went there, and I always wanted to. Yeah, well, now with the pandemic, it's not working at the moment, but I'm trying to get over there as well.
I want to get back to Europe myself.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to talk about Bryan Adams a little bit. His last wrestling match was with you, and he stated in an interview that he ended his career on January 19th, 2003. This is the date you had your last match with him against Goldberg and Keiji Muto. Was there a reason for him to quit?
I think that Bryan was actually going to go into boxing. Bryan was a very good boxer. And it was time for me to have my back operated on. I'd put that off long enough. So I had a back surgery. And then I remember during Bryan's boxing training, he blew out his shoulder. And so that never really happened.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, we were both at the end of our career. But I'm just so thankful that it ended on such a high note, whereas it could have just been nothing. And instead it was something grand.
Yeah. It is said that you ended your career because of severe neck problems. Is that true?
Well, I've had 13 surgeries.
Okay.
So it's from head to toe. It's not just the neck. Yeah.
Not just the neck. Okay.
I stopped counting at 13. I think there's more, but I just said that, I stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have contact with Bryan until 2007 when he sadly died?
Yes. Yeah. We still talked at least probably once a week. I live in Arizona. Yeah. And he was living in Florida. So we were a long way away, but we always talked. Yeah.
Okay, so now that you are wrestling for our fantasy wrestling league, our Moon Talk wrestling company, and you won our television title, and you beat our world heavyweight champion Diamond Dallas Page, would you say we booked you better?
No, that's perfect. That's the perfect person. That's the perfect person for me to beat. Yes.
Great. Well, I hope we have covered your career. Was there anything we missed?
I had one thing I want to talk about. I'll cover a couple things. I've mentioned the new merchandise line, Wrestle Merch Central. That's in the UK and in Europe. So you can get all, and they've got 2 full pages of all my designs, all my artwork.
We put that in the comments.
You got to see it. Then in the U.S., there's Pro Wrestling Tees for the people that are in the U.S. that see this. But we've got hoodies, beanies. I designed an Atom Bomb bomber jacket.
Great.
It's badass. You got to see it.
Okay.
But those are the two things. Another thing I wanted to discuss, and maybe hopefully this is beneficial to people. Over 2 years ago, I had some charges against me, and they were denied, and they are being dropped. But what happened was it put some negative publicity on me.
Yeah.
And it sort of made me realize it was just a big wake-up call for me. I had after all those surgeries, and it was just seemed like one after another after another. I had become dependent on opiates, which is a pain pill.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a big issue in Germany or not. I'm not sure. But in the U.S., in the U.S. it is.
Yeah.
And I had become dependent on those, but the doctors kept prescribing them to me.
Okay.
And so I had wanted to be off of them for a while.
Yeah.
And my wife is a nurse, and when I got that negative publicity and those allegations against me, I just said, that's it. I'm quitting. I said, I'm just going to, I don't care how bad I hurt. I'll find another way around it, but I quit cold turkey. I mean, I just stopped.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not a doctor. I don't advise that. That's probably not the way to do it, but that was my way of doing it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go to rehab 15 times and talk about it, sit in a circle and cry and hold hands.
Yeah.
I just said,
that's not your style.
No, it's not. I said, hey, man, a pill is not going to control my life. I'm not going to worry about when the next prescription is coming or not coming, or if I run out and be in pain or whatever. I just said, that's it. I'm quitting. And it was, and I'm going to tell you now, it is hard. It's very difficult.
It is.
Very difficult. I was extremely sick for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything for 2 weeks. I mean, I felt like I just sort of laid on my couch and did nothing, because that's how sick I was. Everything from the nausea, the vomiting, everything. Anyone who has been through this will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is just, and then the worst part to me was, it reminded me flashback to the military. And I think that's what got me through it, was the college football, the military, the powerlifting, and all the tough training that I've had, is that there was no sleep. I could not sleep for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If I got 30 minutes here and there, I was just like, oh, I'd take anything, 15 minutes, 10 minutes. I didn't care. But man, I'll tell you, I'm so glad that I beat it. I know that there are people that are out there that are struggling with it. And I just want to let them know, from my point of view, is that you can beat it. You do not have to have a doctor telling you you've got to keep taking these, because you do not have to keep taking them. There are other ways around and other methods that are natural healing stuff that you can do without it. My routine is, what saved me, man, is my weight training and conditioning that I've done my whole life. Through surgery after surgery, I've had to come back. And even this morning, 5 a.m., I'm in the hot tub. That's the first thing I do. I get in there, I loosen up, I stretch, get ready, take another cold shower, get ready, go to the gym, train for 2 hours, come home, put the ice packs on. So it's a routine, but it's better than taking pills and being
absolutely,
and being in that
addiction.
Yeah, and you don't think clearly. I would have never. I would have never been able to design. And my office is like a mad scientist with all the drawings and ideas and stuff.
Whose isn't? Look here.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, so I was able to, once it's like I said, it's been over 2 years, and I'm so proud of that fact that I beat it, and I did it on my own. I didn't have to go anywhere to do it. I did it with, like I said, with my family behind me, my friends, their support. Yeah. But as I say this stuff too, I don't want to sound like I am preaching to anyone as far as what you have to do, because it's difficult. I mean, I understand the starting. I was going to start. I was going to start, and then I stopped, and then I start, and I stopped. You just have got to get a grip on it, and just do it. I mean, and the amazing thing is, like, okay, you always hear this, and you're going, I don't know if I believe that or not, but it is so much better without them. Yeah. I mean, it's like there's a cloud and it's gone. Yeah. It just moved away because I was able to get it out of my system. And here's the best thing is that I know I'll never do it again. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Real simple. The way I know that I will, they always say never, right? Well, I will say never, and I'll tell you why. All I have to do is think back to how sick I was on day 10 or 11 or day 12 with no sleep, and that's it. Yeah. I don't have a craving for it. There's no, it's not there. And so I just, like I said, I just wanted to make that point for people to know that, we all go through a bump in the road in life, and you can beat it, man. Just stay focused, laser focused. Don't let anything stop you. Don't be tempted. You can do it. I'm telling you, you can do it. I did it, and I didn't think honestly, I was not sure because I had so many surgeries, and every day, hey, I wake up. Do I hurt? Hell yeah. Yeah, I mean, of course. But I still take my ass to the gym every day. I work out every day. I do my cardio. I do all the stuff that I need to do to take care of myself without medication.
I can totally relate to that, because that's the way how I stopped smoking back in the day. And so many people ask me, how did you do it? Did you go from 10 cigarettes to 5 cigarettes to 3? And I said, no, I just quit. And then, of course, the first weeks are horrible. Oh. And you feel exhausted and all of that, and but when you're through this, then it's getting way better and way better, and your lungs feel fresher, and you don't stink and all of that. And I have so many people around me. I'm an educator over here in Germany, and I have so many co-workers who were smoking, and I'm not preaching as well, but I always tell them, just stop. And so many now stopped, and now they say, wow, I missed over 1,000 cigarettes by now, and I'm feeling so great. Yes. And I mean, it may not compare to an addiction for painkillers or whatever.
No. They say nicotine is as hard to quit as it is opiates. Yeah. They say that it is terrible. Yeah. So yeah, I totally understand and relate to that. Yeah. Yeah. And I also quit sugar in the last year, and I lost originally, not a joke, I lost 40 pounds just on quitting sugar. I have a soda here I'm sipping on, so I haven't been able to stop the sugar.
I just go for 0, and that's it. That's the only thing I go for, or water. But I lost 40 pounds with just quitting sugar, going a little bit more a little bit low on carbs, and training, and it worked. It just worked. Yeah, and that's the real life drugs that we have in our every life. It's cigarettes, it's alcohol, it's sugar, and all of that. Of course, sure, you can eat an ice cream once in a day. That doesn't mean you have to erase it forever. But so many people are not actually realizing what they're doing to their bodies. It's just the truth.
Yeah, it's like I said, I knew that the opiates. I'll tell you a real quick story that as I was coming off of those, like I said, I felt bad and I felt sick. And I don't know if this happens to anybody else. And I even asked my wife, I said, is it just me? I said, but I feel like gasoline or that smell is coming out of my body. I said, I feel so bad. And I said, do you smell the gasoline smell? She says, no, I don't smell it. I said, well, I mean, to me, it was real. I just was, I don't know. Yeah. There's just so many. And then there's the whole mind game, the hair out of my face, the whole mind games of how you feel. And you're going like, oh, can I make it another day? Can I? Yes, you can. And I just pushed every day until over 2 years, man, never again.
Yeah.
No way.
And it's finally, when it's out of your system, then you start living again.
That's the way. Hey, yeah. And that's how I've been so creative with all this merchandise.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've got an action figure coming. Like I said, Wrestle Merch Central, Pro Wrestling Tees. All that stuff came together when I got that clarity.
Yeah.
You know, that's what happened.
Yeah. So the final two questions, looking back, is there something you would change? Is there something you wanted to do but you could never do, or would you keep it the way it is?
You know, you can't go through life with regrets. I've been really blessed, man. 3-time world tag team champions, all Japan tag champions, having the belt handed to me by one of my heroes.
Yeah.
I mean, I had one of the greatest tag partners ever on the road, in the locker room, and in the ring, out of the ring. Just you know, so all that stuff. Yeah, you can't have the regrets. You just got to move forward and know that you were the best in the world on a few occasions. And I mean, I've worked in places all over the world. I've got to do things that people never get to do. I've done movies, commercials, television. I mean, you name it. I feel like I've done just about everything. And now it just seems like all of a sudden there's a resurgence of the retro stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm sort of reliving it again, which is cool. You know, I think it's pretty cool. And the fact that I had a hand in every bit of that merchandise, because it is all right here. That's where it all came from.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I mean, it's cool.
So what does Bryan Clark do now? What did you do, or what do you do in your spare time? And what are your hobbies, and how's your family?
Family's good. Family's good. Most of my family lives in Florida.
Okay.
My wife is a director of nursing, and we live here in Arizona. So yeah, everything is good. I mean, like I said, I'm working with Wrestle Merch Central. So as soon as COVID clears up, I'm sure I'll be over there doing some promotional work.
Cool.
Hopefully, I've got 3 shows coming up. I have Baltimore in May. I have New York City in June. I have Atlanta in July. So I've got just constant shows coming in. And so, yeah, it's keeping me busy. I don't want to travel too much. You know what I mean? I don't want to go back to – no way do I want to go back to what that schedule. But once a month, going to somewhere to do autograph sessions and stuff, that's just getting to see the fans and you know, and getting to interact and to get yourself back out there a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the interview.
You're not leaving yet, are you?
Well, I have to.
Well, I got to show you something first. I had a special guest.
Okay.
Can I bring on my special guest?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. This will only take a second. Now, during COVID, you know, I had a lot of time off, so I had a baby girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to introduce her to you, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. She's 1 year old. Come here. All right. Okay. There she is. Look at that. Look at there. Look at picture. There she is. Look at that baby.
What's her name?
Her name is Skylar.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Oh goodness. Yeah. Okay.
Great.
I had to get you on that one a little bit. You thought I had a baby, right?
Yeah. At first I thought, oh no, little bomb, but now.
Oh no, that one right there, that is a handful. Trust me.
Yeah. I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Bryan Clark, for the interview. And
hey, man, thanks for having me. Like I said, love Germany, and I cannot wait to get back.
Yeah, and send me the links to your shop, and we put him under here in the description so that the fans can buy your merchandise.
Great, and then please join my Twitter. It's at Real Bryan Clark, Bryan Clark, at Real Bryan Clark.
Yeah,
I just got started on Twitter, so you're more than welcome to join, interact, questions. It's like all wrestling. It seems like, and that's fine with me. I don't mind at all. But yeah, definitely go and check out the Twitter.
We will.
So yeah,
we'll put that in the description as well, so that people can contact you. Awesome. Ja, dann vielen Dank an Brian Adams hier von unserer Seite aus, also hier aus Deutschland. Und ihr wusstet ja, ne, der $1 Million Man holt sich das natürlich, war ja ganz klar. Ne? Ich habe ihn ja gekauft mit der $1 Million Corporation hier, Wrath, extra für uns, also für die Moon Talk Eclipse. Vielen Dank nochmal, Bryan Clark. Have a nice day.
Thanks, man. See you.